Hello, and welcome to Action Theater Presents To Hell and Back Again, the Audrey Murphy story. I see we have Connie Clearly and her affiliate Chicken Fluff Chick Productions. Welcome and happy Memorial Day. With me is my partner in crime, Deleted Scenes.
All right. Good evening, afternoon, as of right now, to all the ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. Hopefully, I am not roboting too badly. Apparently, I do have a bit of an audio issue, but I'm going to be here with you for the duration. Our first film is, as Bill said, Autumn Murphy's To Hell and Back. True story of his World War II experiences. You can follow along with us on Cosme. The link should be at the top of both chats. Or if you happen to have your own physical copy, you can follow along that way as well.
Yeah, and as much as we like to show you these here, we cannot. You have to find your own copy if you don't. So I'm gonna start the feature over on Cosme, and here we go. So we just started it. We're at right at 30 seconds. To Hell and Back, print in Technicolor. Universal International presents To Hell and Back. Starring Audrey Murphy. Yes. The story about who it actually is in it is the actual person. This is his story.
Mhm. So a rather simple beginning here. Young Audie with his mother and sister's little brother out in the sticks, as it were. And this is something that a lot of people during that time period had to deal with. The kids having to drop out of school and go to work.
Probably not. Military pay is not that great. So here if we jump forward a little bit in time,
Mhm. And
he's
we
a
get
little
Audie
bit
Murphy
older
here.
now. Audrey's he's feeding his siblings. So here is
Yeah.
you have just after the Pearl Harbor attacks, and they're glued to the radio as if it was a television set.
And the thing they have to remember is a lot of the men you're seeing, they were probably World War One vets. And after the war ended, went back to home, either to a farm or the original jobs, what have you. As always.
His mother passed away pretty young.
All right, so he goes to the Marines first, of course. He's being kind of shuttled around between. They're all turning him down at this point, and here's his first attempt. He gets into the Navy actually, but as you can see, doesn't quite agree with him. Sublime.
3rd Infantry Division, B Company, 15th Infantry Regiment.
Of course, here's the guys that he's going to be with throughout the rest of the war. Britain, Kovac, okay. For those following along, time stamp is 22 minutes and 35 seconds. I can remind everyone that as much as we would like to, we cannot show this movie live, as it is not yet in public domain. But if you can follow along with us on Cosme, the link is at the top of both chats, or with your own physical copy. Also like to say hello to everyone joining us on Twitter. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. Hmm. Roll credits. Hmm. Look out.
Hey, here it comes.
Hey, don't put this war in my name. For all I know, you haven't kept up with payments. And that's actually kind of cool. He's not somebody who's looking for. He's not a glory hound. He's just a guy. And winds up in this extraordinary situation. As we've learned from the British, there, Germans have blown up all of the bridges in the area, and now they got to find a different way. Hmm. It's the old girl. What if he had said yes, actually? And I'd be like, don't get weird on us, Brandon. Oh, Johnson. I'm sorry. I keep getting the two mixed up. This is Brandon Guy's Johnson. I'm sorry. I always do that for some reason. There was a British movie called How I Won the War. It was like in the 60s or 70s. I think John Lennon had like a small part in it. Well, that was a close one. Ah, hell. Blast took out the sergeant. Lieutenant's wounded. So now Murphy's in charge of the platoon, and the 7th is moving across the river in the boats. after being at the front for a few months, and Lieutenant Manning's return after being wounded. Murphy and Johnson have been promoted up, and here we are on R&R. Bye. Timestamp is 53 minutes 40 seconds. I want to remind everyone that you can follow along with us on Cosme, as we cannot show this movie live due to copyright constraints. You can also follow along with your own personal copy if you have one. I'd also like to remind everyone that after this, our double feature will continue with the Battle of Britain.
Hello, with Grillo with Random Thoughts. Good to see you.
Yes, hello, Gorillas Random Thoughts. Thank you for joining us. The timestamp is 1 hour.
Gross. He's playing with his feet a lot.
Of course, if you recognize the lieutenant there, that's David Jensen, who was the original fugitive on TV. Hmm. Good night, Irene. The machine gun upstairs. Yeah, that's not good. Not allowed to shoot at mirrors. I hate this because it's that damn stove that gets them, you know? Oh, put that down. Bill, can we get a timestamp for the folks?
Yeah. 1 hour 16:16.
Right on. And that's something Band of Brothers goes into as well. You know, they treated the replacement troops different. They didn't want to know 'em. You know, in the Band of Brothers documentary, one of the guys says, you know, we didn't want to know the replacements because they would always get killed. You know. Guys you go in with, you're stuck with. You know, the new guys you didn't want to know 'em. I can understand that.
Hey, here you have Admiral Murphy with what they call Bangalore.
Yeah.
Kind of like a bazooka, but
Well, technically, he's gonna rifle fire grenade on him. But same idea. So the fields have dried up. The Germans can now bring their tanks in and being pushed out of the farmhouse again. Uh-oh.
Up the smoke. Division going in. They finally make it to Rome. Grenade up in there. One time too many. Three machine gun placements single-handed. See, that's the thing. He's not trying to do any of this heroic stuff. He just winds up kind of doing it all by himself, you know? And hello to Jessica Hardo. So what's for every combat unit? Replacements get less time for training. They're coming out of boot camp, which could last up to 6 to 10 weeks. And of course, here's Valentino and Kerrigan, and they're the last two guys out of the guys he started out with. This says today basic training is about 8 to 10 weeks. Infantry training is about another 12 weeks. Airborne training is about 3 weeks of learning how to jump out of a C-130.
Excuse me.
And hello, Curtis Selby.
Hey, Curtis.
It's even more interesting how many times he got promoted from squad leader to officer. Yeah.
Corporal. Yeah.
And hello, West Kegel. Was just the German observation post. Here we go. Getting promoted is like a death position with these guys. That tank's out of commission.
Germans had better tanks than the U.S. forces did. I'll let you talk to them. That's how close they are. Mowing them down with that 50 cal. Oh.
Whoops. Nope.
How you doing, West Kegel?
And that's how I got the Medal of Honor. Yeah.
The end.
All right. All right. We shall consult the scrolls. Trivia time, ladies and gentlemen. To Hell and Back was released on August 17th, 1955. There are 4 major filming locations: Universal Studios 100 Universal City Plaza in Universal City, California, Fort Lewis, Washington, the Oak Creek Wildlife Area in Natchez, Washington, and the Yakima River in Washington. Now on to some trivia. Audie Murphy originally declined the opportunity to portray himself in the movie, not wanting people to think he was attempting to cash in on his role as a war hero. Murphy initially suggested his friend Tony Curtis to play him. They had worked together on 3 westerns, the Sierra, Kansas Raiders, and the Cimarron Kid. A total of 50,000 rounds of ammunition, 300 pounds of TNT, and 600 pounds of blasting powder and 10 cases of 40% dynamite were required for the filming of the battle scenes. Audie Murphy's war buddy Onklo Earhart was slated to play himself as well, but he declined due to the fact that the film would be shot during planting season. Average shot length, ASL, 8 seconds. One of the combat sequences centered around a fight to capture a German position in an abandoned Italian farmhouse. This included a scene where 2 German soldiers manning an MG-42 machine gun are shown firing belts of ammunition at the attacking Americans. Apparently, when the first takes of this action were made using blank ammunition, it didn't look real enough. This perceived flaw was eventually resolved by filming 2 GIs from Fort Lewis dressed as German troops firing live ammunition from the machine gun. It was the only way they could think of to get the impressive muzzle flash the weapon when the weapon was fired. Audie Murphy was the most decorated U.S. soldier of World War II. According to this film, he applied for service with the Navy, the Marines, and the Army, and he was turned down by all 3 branches. Moreover, when he joined his combat unit, one of his superiors considered transferring him out of the company for being unfit for combat. Murphy's feats of heroism and his much decorated status have been compared to those of his counterpart during World War I, Sergeant Alvin C. York. Who was the subject of his own Hollywood biopic, Sergeant York. This movie was a box office hit for Universal Pictures, and his record was not broken until Jaws, 20 years later.
Wow.
In the movie, Murphy does his one-man standoff on top of a medium M4 Sherman tank. In real life, it happened on top of an M10 Wolverine tank destroyer. Of the 27 military decorations Audie Murphy received, all but 1 were awarded before he turned 19. Among Murphy's 27 among Murphy's 27 American decorations was the Medal of Honor, highest U.S. military valor award for conduct above and beyond Call of Duty. He was also awarded 5 decorations by France and Belgium. According to this film, Murphy fought in 7 major campaigns during World War II and received the Bronze Star, 3 awards of the Purple Heart, the Legion of Merit,
2 awards of the Silver Star and a Distinguished Service Cross. From France, he was awarded the Legion of Honor Chevalier and 2 awards of the Croix de Guerre with Palm. August 9th, 1945, just after his 19th birthday, he was awarded with the Medal of Honor, the highest honor for valor a U.S. soldier can be awarded. The Holtzwihr standoff took place in the winter under cold and muddy, rainy, and snowy conditions. In the film, it took place on a warm, bright, sunny day. Probably because if the actual conditions were accurately portrayed, it would have been difficult, if not impossible, to film. The movie is said to be responsible for popularizing the term dogface in popular culture. Dogface was a term used during World War II to describe U.S. Army combat infantrymen. This movie also features a song entitled Dogface Soldier. According to the Variety Movie Guide, Audie Murphy gets into the Army in 1942 at the age of 16. In 1943, he became a replacement in Company B, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Division, 7th Army in North Africa, and served with the unit throughout the war in Tunisia, Italy, France, Germany, and Austria. During that time, he rose from private first class to company commander, or lieutenant, was wounded 3 times, personally killed 240 Germans, and was one of only 2 soldiers left in the original company at the end of the war. His decorations total 24 from the Medal of Honor on down. In the DVD commentary, First Blood author David Morrell cites Audie Murphy as the inspiration for the character of John Rambo. In the final film, Rambo, at that point in time, the final film, Part 4, Rambo takes on hundreds of enemy soldiers with a 50 cal machine gun mounted on a vehicle, just as Audie Murphy does at the end of this film and actually did during the real-life battle. The track of the same title, the 2014 Army, the track of the same title from the 2014 album Heroes by Swedish heavy metal group Sabaton is about Audie Murphy. The video for the track also features footage from this film. This was the film debut of Susan Conner. This is the only movie starring a major Hollywood actor portraying himself in the movie biography of his own life. By contrast, the Jackie Robinson story in 1950, starring Jackie Robinson, was the only movie Robinson ever made. Immediately prior to the theatrical release of this movie, Audie Murphy appeared as a mystery guest on the TV show What's My Line in 1950. He used his natural voice, but Bennett Cerf guessed his identity based on his war exploits, not voice recognition. When firing his Thompson submachine gun in the film, Audie Murphy holds the sling just under the forward handguard's stacking swivel, most probably the way he held the Thompson during actual combat to control the rise of the barrel as fired. Audie Murphy's best friend in World War II, called Brandon in the book and film, was actually named PFC Laddie Tipton. He was killed in action in southern France August 15th, 1944, exactly as was depicted in the film. And Murphy reportedly had a difficult time playing the scene. For more information on the real-life Tipton, see his memorial page on Find a Grave. Audie Murphy's Medal of Honor citation verbatim. Medal of Honor orders, General Orders number 65, War Department, Washington 25, Washington D.C. August 1945. Medal of Honor Awards, Section 1. Medal of Honor by direction of the President under the provisions of the Act of Congress. Approved 9 July 1918. A Medal of Honor for conspicuous gallantry, intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty was awarded by the War Department in the name of Congress to the following named officer. Second Lieutenant Audie L. Murphy, 01692509. 15th Infantry, Army of the United States on 26 January 1945 near Holtzwihr, France. Commanded Company B, which was attacked by 6 tanks and waves of infantry. Lieutenant Murphy ordered his men to withdraw to a prepared position in the woods while he remained forward at his command post and continued to give fire directions to the artillery by telephone. Behind him to his right, one of our tank destroyers received a direct hit and began to burn. Its crew withdrew to the woods. Lieutenant Murphy continued to direct the artillery fire, which killed large numbers of advancing enemy infantry. With the enemy tanks abreast of his position, Lieutenant Murphy climbed on the burning tank destroyer, which was in danger of blowing up any instant, and employed its 50 caliber machine gun against the enemy. He was alone and exposed to the German fire from 3 sides, but his deadly fire killed dozens of Germans and caused the infantry attack to waver. The enemy tanks, losing infantry support, began to fall back. For an hour, the Germans tried every available weapon to eliminate Lieutenant Murphy, but he continued to hold his position and wiped out his squad, which was trying to creep up unnoticed on his right flank. The Germans reached as close as 10 yards, only to be mowed down by his fire. He received a leg wound, but ignored it and continued single-handed to fight until his ammunition was exhausted. He then made his way to his company, refused medical attention, and organized the company in a counterattack which forced the Germans to withdraw. His directing of artillery fire wiped out many of the enemy. He personally killed or wounded about 50. Lieutenant Murphy's indomitable courage and his refusal to give an inch of ground saved his company from possible encirclement and destruction and enabled it to hold the woods in which had been the enemy's objective. By the order of the Secretary of War official Edward F. Witzel, Major General, Acting Adjutant General, G.C. Marshall, Chief of Staff. This film has a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 6 critic reviews. The movie was filmed in eastern Washington near Yakima, where the dry climate and sparse vegetation bore a strong resemblance to the landscape of North Africa and Sicily. Audie Murphy received his Medal of Honor on the same day that the USA dropped the atom bomb on Hiroshima. Born June 20th, which is my birthday as well, 1925, Audie Murphy was 20 years and 2 months old when he received the Medal of Honor on August 9th, 1945, not 19 years old as stated in the movie. However, he was 19 years old in January of 1945 when he performed the actions for which he was later awarded the medal. And although the official citation was not published until August, he was actually presented with the Medal of Honor by Lieutenant General Alexander M. Patch, June 2nd, 1945, when he was still 19. Included among the U.S. Film Institute's 2001 list of 400 movies nominated for the top 100 most heart-pounding American movies. Years later, Audie Murphy was asked if he realized just how much danger he was in during the thrilling sequence in the film where he holds off 2 German rifle companies and 5 Panzer tanks while firing the 50 caliber machine gun on top of the burning tank destroyer. He replied, "I did. When I glanced down at the map I was using to call the artillery fire and noticed it was riddled with holes from the bullets flying all around me." When Murphy was asked why he did such a crazy thing, he replied simply, "They were killing my friends." This was the final film of Theo Porchon and was Andrea Lee's film debut. Audie Murphy was buried with full military honors on June 7th, 1971 in Arlington National Cemetery. His grave is the second most visited in the cemetery after that of John F. Kennedy. And that is all of the trivia on To Hell and Back from IMDb Pro. These scrolls are now closed.
Okay. Well, if you want to follow us over for part 2 on the Battle of Britain, here's the link there. That's for deleted scenes, and there's Mike. We will be starting the Battle of Britain in 2 minutes, so follow us over there, and we will get on with the second part of our double feature today. We'll see you over there.
All right. And for those of you who have other festivities to go to and can't join us, I hope that you enjoyed the show. I want to thank everyone who joined us in both chats and also on Twitter. From HQ, our second home office in Arizona, and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, our salute to the troops will continue with part 2, Battle of Britain. Good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win.